Yeah. Analytics off the chain, other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. I'm a headliner.
Yo, what is going on, Headliner Nation? My favorite videos to do, breaking news videos. And that's right, we've got a little breaking news here for you in the NFL today. So, of course, I've got to hop on and give you my take a little bit to talk about what I think. So, what is the breaking news? Well, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers doing what they have done best over the last few years, setting themselves an oldie but goodie, as Julio Jones will now be headed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Per Adam Schefter on Twitter just a few moments ago, 7-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Julio Jones is signing a one-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers per source. The soon-to-be 45-year-old Tom Brady will now have a chance to throw to the 33-year-old Jones. That was a good voiceover. Maybe not. You depend. You can grade it all you want to. But listen, Julio Jones headed to Tampa Bay. What does this do? Is anybody worried? I mean, if you're the kind that likes to overreact about things, then sure, you're probably overreacting about this right now. But listen, Julio Jones, I'm not investing fantasy assets in him. I'm just not going to do it. All right? He's breaking down. He's lost a step. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. Last year there in Tennessee, nothing really came to fruition. Now, Ryan Tannehill and Tom Brady are obviously two completely different quarterbacks, but there's still no excitement here for me about Julio Jones. So, what does this mean? Who's impacted? Let's break it down. Mike Evans, still the number one on this offense. Still number one. I'm not worried about it. Dude's going to eat. He's going to get targets. He's going to get receptions. He's going to get yards. He's going to get touchdowns, and he's going to be one of your best draft picks come the end of the season. Number two, Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin was actually just cleared for training camp. So, Tampa Bay recently said they were optimistic and hopeful that he could be ready for week one. Now, there was no guarantees, but being clear for training camp, I think, was a good first step. And he might not be 100% come week one, and we know that that might be a problem and could take him a couple of weeks or a few weeks to get back into it, but probably is not going to miss a whole lot of time at this point unless he were to hurt himself again. So, Chris Godwin, for me, not really falling in the rankings too much. He's been a pretty good draft day value as of right now, but I don't think Julio Jones hurts Chris Godwin at all. The one person I think that this could end up hurting. Now, keep in mind, too, that they could just cut Julio at the end of training camp, right? If he gets hurt and he's not healthy and all that good stuff, they could just end up cutting Julio. I do not think them signing Julio is any indication of Chris Godwin's health because, again, he was literally just cleared for training camp, and they literally just said the other day they were optimistic and hopeful that he could play in week one. So this isn't any indication for Chris Godwin for me. This, I believe, is just all about depth. All about depth. Wanting to get some more guys in there. Again, wanting to get a guy in that has balled out his entire career, and who knows? Maybe he does resurrect his career, and then he's just another weapon for Tom Brady. The guy that this hurts for me, in my opinion, is Russell Gage. Now, one thing we also have to keep in mind, too, is, listen, they brought in Kyle Rudolph to be the Gronkowski. I'm not buying into that at all. I think, if anything, if Julio Jones does end up starting and playing, it's Evans, Julio, and Chris Godwin in the slot. Maybe they run more 4 wide receiver sets, and now they put Gage out there with really no tight end on the line. Or if they do, they have Brait or they have Rudolph. So I'm not worried about any of those guys either. Gage is the guy for me that probably is hurt the most. He was a guy that maybe is like a late round sleeper you were investing in and grabbing to put on your team. Really, for me, I was okay with that, but I was still being cautious because I thought, hey, if Chris Godwin is still healthy and back in time, he's going to be just fine. Gage really isn't going to see a ton. Now that we're getting closer to saying, okay, Gage or Chris Godwin looks like he's going to be healthy, that's even less for me now. So Gage really is the guy that I feel like could be hurt because if Julio Jones is healthy, does break training camp with the Bucs, and he is a part of the starting rotation to begin the season, Gage is going to be the guy that will likely lose snaps to begin with. Or if Chris Godwin isn't fully healthy, Chris Godwin doesn't start the season on 100% snap rate, maybe he's seeing like 50 or something, then you see a little bit of Gage in the slot and you see a little bit of Julio Jones outside. So those three guys are probably going to have a little merry-go-round of snap percentages to begin the year until Chris Godwin is fully healthy and ready to go. So I'm not jumping to go get Julio Jones. I'm less likely to draft Russell Gage now at this point. If you do draft Russell Gage, he's more of a guy that you draft. Hopefully he balls out to start the year, and then maybe you trade him after a couple of weeks. Fingers crossed. Or again, if there's any type of a setback with Chris Godwin, then you can have him. But for me, it's just really a guy to monitor. It's a situation to monitor, to keep an eye on. He could end up being cut before the season even breaks, and it's no big deal. There is an opportunity for some more 4 wide receiver sets there now instead of 3 if they're not running a whole lot of the tight end anymore. Some of those targets from Gronk last year could still be spread out, so who knows? If Julio is healthy and he's out there playing, and you got Evans, Julio, and Chris Godwin, that's a pretty darn good 3 wide receiver set if, again, Julio's healthy and out there. So for me personally, not really a guy I'm throwing very high into the rankings. Maybe like a wide receiver 5 right now, a late round target. I'm sure there's going to be some people that just see the name and want to hop all over it right away. So I'm not really worried about grabbing him in your drafts. If you've already drafted and you want to pick him up off waivers, if waivers are open, you can take a stab at it if you don't have really great depth at the wide receiver position. But I'm not going to overreact to it. To me, there isn't a whole lot to this. No Chris Godwin issues here. Really hurts Russell Gage a little bit. As soon as Chris Godwin is fine and healthy and ready to go, though, Julio Jones, if he's still healthy and playing at that point, probably isn't going to make much of an impact anyway. So, I mean, a lot of people might say, well, what about Antonio Brown last year? Again, could see a lot of splitting time with Russell Gage. So all that attempts that you saw, all the potential volume there for Antonio Brown before he decided to dance right on off the field, probably going to be split between those two guys. And Julio hasn't been able to stay healthy anyway. So wanted to give you all a quick breakdown and my thoughts. Hopefully you appreciate it. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and stopping by for the first time. I'm going to get out of here. All of you stay safe and healthy. Make sure you check out all of our other videos. If you've missed any, make sure that you hit those and watch those real quick. The channel is just absolutely booming right now, but I appreciate you all. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll catch you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.
Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on third down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. You know we about that chub life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation. I'm a headliner.